So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the feet, going to do hips. So again, just like we did last Monday, a lot of hip hamstring work today. So we're going to start with the feet. Okay. I'm going to step out here so you can kind of see. I realize my mat matches my ball and it's kind of hard to see. But rolling the spaces in the feet. I think all of you have been with me plenty of times before. We're going to work on those 3 zones between the ball of the foot, heel of the foot. Okay. Technique is called scraping. So imagine as you go back and forth, up and down in those vertical pattern, gradually put a little bit more pressure into the ball and scrape those tissues a little bit deeper, right? And get into all those nooks and crannies, right? Way back by the heel, outside on that pinky toe side, way into the heel or the arch space, right? And the other thing to think about here as we're rolling our feet is really try to get that breath back down. Big inhales and exhales. So even if you didn't come from my class where our heart rate was up, just become very mindful of your breathing right now. Big inhales and exhales. Very slow and controlled. Try to get that breath to come from the entire core instead of just right up here in the chest. All right, now let's go back, polka dot. So press down, hold, move the toes, rock off. Press down, hold, move the toes, rock off. Okay, so we're just here. Basically, a pin and stretch here as we step on, hold, and then we move the toes. That's our stretch. We're stretching those tissues, stretching that fascia. Okay, and then put that ball right below the ball of the foot. So right underneath the ball, and just do a little inside out. And focus on the pinky toe going out, big toe going in, rolling. See how I'm using, so I'm using my hip, I'm using my knee, of course. But I'm going to try to quiet that down and see if I can get, there we go. So I can get more of that motion just through my foot and ankle. Right, so see what happens if I have my ankles locked up. Well, what does my body do, right? It compensates. My hip's going to move, my knee's going to do all sorts of funky things because my ankle is locked up. So ankle is a mobile joint, knee is a stable joint, hip is a mobile joint, right? So we want the hip and ankle to be mobile, that knee to be stable, and if that ankle is not mobile, the knee ends up doing all this stuff to try to make up for it, guess what? Headed for trouble. All right, switch the other foot. Okay, rolling back and forth. Big inhales and exhales. Okay, find all those little nooks and crannies. Use your wall here. I'm not leaning on it. I just got a hand on it, so I don't have to. Gives my brain a little bit of break, so I can focus a little bit more on what's going on in my foot. Come back to your breath. Every so often, check on it. Big inhales and exhales. Okay, then whenever you're ready on this foot, go ahead and do that polka dot. Step on it, move the toes, step off of it. Okay, so polka dotting on that side. Again, we're stretching the fascia on the bottom of the foot, which is connected, right, all the way up the chain. So if you feel things other places, it's because that fascia is all interconnected. Okay, now same thing on this side. Put it right below the ball of the foot and do that rotation. Big toe in, pinky toe out. Right. Yes, you're going to get moving the hip. Yes, you're gonna get that knee doing a little bit of work, but see how much you can do just in that ankle. And it might help just to kind of glance down and watch that ankle and encourage it to move. Good. Okay, so 30 more seconds. Go back to the other foot. Just hit any spaces that you feel you just want to spend a little bit more time on. And your breath. Okay, so next up, we're going to move up the chain. We're going to skip over the calves. We did that on Monday. Encourage you to roll the calves whenever you can as well. But we're going to roll a little bit in the quad and get into the hips today. All right. Okay. So taking that ball. Remember we talked about our bony landmark. So I have my knee here and my ball and socket joint and my hip here. That medium line goes straight down. That's my IT band. That's a thick fibrous band. Not going to change it, right? But I can work the muscles on either side of it. So on top of it, I have my vastus lateralis. That's an outside quad muscle, and then we have our hamstring in the back. But we're going to focus on that vastus lateralis right now. So imagine that midline. You're going to put the ball right above it. And I'm going to have to go get to my wall here, but I'll show you on this side where that ball is. So my ball is right here, and I've got my knee bent. I'm going to go a little bit forward, a little bit back. I'm just working this much space, and that ball is just sitting kind of on top of my IT band here. Right? I'm just kind of going back and forth. Right? Now, we don't want to go down too low to the knee because that's where it's just IT band. There's not a lot of muscle there. So we want to feel where that bigger vastus lateralis muscle starts to develop. And that's where we want to start. So maybe right around mid quad, maybe a little bit lower, but you don't want to go any lower than that. And then we're just again working just little spaces here. All right, so I'm just kind of rolling front to back. Now I'm going to work it up towards my ball and socket joint. So right in this space. Right. I got a lot of big knot right here, so if I make funny faces, that's why. So I'm just trying to breathe. I'm right in this space here. And I'm going to press and hold. I have a big knot right in this space. So all I'm going to do is just going to kind of press my leg out against the ball, in towards the wall. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good. And release. Good. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to start down about halfway down. And I'm just kind of, you can see I'm just kind of rocking forward and back. That ball's going right here. Good, and I'm going to move it up. So I'm just going to inch it up towards my ball and socket joint right here. So right in this space, right below. I am tight on this side, but not, I don't have a big old knot like I do on this one. Okay, so I'm just going to keep with that rock. Big inhales and exhales. All right, and before we go on to rolling the hips, I'm going to take the time right now to stretch the quads because we're already standing up, we're already in the position, we already have the wall next to us. So you can put the ball down and just hold it in your hand. We're going to go into a quad stretch. So I know people do this stretch all the time, but a lot of times they don't do it really thinking about what we want here. So you want to pull that heel in as tight as you can, number one. If you can't, right? It might be here and you're feeling stretching, that's fine. Pull that heel in tight. But the other thing is, we don't want to lean forward, right? We don't want that knee to go out to the side. So if I turn this way, you can see how my knee is tucked right underneath my hip that way. It's also tucked right under my hip this way. All right. Now my hand is holding my foot. That shoulder's not rolled forward. Right. Everything's connected. Roll that shoulder back. Lift the chest. Pull the heel in. Stand tall. active stretch here. You can use the wall. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now, once you take that foot, kick it into your hand. Your hand's going to hold it, not let it kick away. And we're going to hold here for 3 breaths. And then relax, bring it back in. Good, we're going to kick out one more time. Ready? Go. Kick and hold. And relax. Bring it back in. Good. Switch to the other side. So that's a little bit of work here, right? We're working. We're not just hanging out. Pull that heel in, shoulders open, knees tucked. 3 breaths. Ready? Kick in your hand, hold, kick away, kick away, kick away. Relax, bring it back in, but I still want you to reach for the ceiling, stand tall. And kick and hold. Keep kicking, keep working. And bring it back in. And release. Good. So that should give you a nice stretch through the front of the legs there and the quad. So now we go into the hips, starting with the low glute, right? That's our glute max, medius part. Find the ball right in there. I like to do a horizontal, right? Think about going from my hip, ball and socket joint in towards the tailbone. I'm going to go onto the tailbone. Horizontal, maybe a little bit of a diagonal pattern because those muscle fibers actually run in a diagonal pattern from hip in towards that tailbone. Right, and I'm in again, that glute max space, so the medius part. And deep in there, you can find that ball and socket joint from the back side, right? And see if you can kind of just trace around that. What can you find in there? And I want you to switch sides on your own. Now, don't follow me, just switch whenever you feel like you have need to stretch. Right? More than likely, you're going to want to work one side more than the other, so please do what you need to. We're going to be here on the glutes for just a little bit, the lower glutes, I should say, for just about a minute, another minute. So spend the time on what you need to spend it on. Big inhales and exhales. Good, just about 30 more seconds. Good. All right. So you can stay there as I talk. Next up, high glute, right? So you find your bony landmark at the back of your pelvis. Now you want to put the ball just below the rim of that. Right? And it's the same thing. I'm going to go from my hip in towards my tailbone. And I'm letting that ball, this is my top of my hip, right? See, I'm going to let that ball just kind of scrape along that top edge there, in and out. Right, and I'm going to take it out. So I'm going to go all the way out. So if you go here, the line of my pants is pretty much the top of my pelvis. I'm going to go all the way out here to pretty much the side, and then all the way back. So I'm going to turn and then come back. And you can take it down a little bit, right? We start out just below the rim of the pelvis, but maybe you want to take it down just a little bit lower. Right, this is our glute med space. We roll that glute max. The glute med is a smaller muscle, 3 glute muscles, right? glute med or glute max is the biggest, glute med is the medium. So you can think about it, glute min is the smallest one. Glute min is kind of deep in there underneath that glute med. Hit it a little bit here in this high glute space. And same thing, please, just switch whenever you need to. All right, so going all the way from right up next to that sacrum, that tailbone, out into that outer hip space, back and forth here. Good, just about 30 more seconds here in the glute space. And we're going to do a little bit of a work with the ball and the hamstring today. If it doesn't feel right, remember my rule, right? If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Find something else to work on. So we're going to do it seated. We're going to give it a shot. If you don't like it, if it's not comfortable at all, please just do something else. Maybe roll your calves or do something. We're just going to spend a couple minutes kind of exploring that high hamstring space with the ball. Okay? So just finish up with the glute med or the high glute here. And we're going to roll the hamstring and then we're going to stretch hips and hamstrings. All right. Okay, so coming down to the floor. It's a little bit of a challenge to get in there. But what we're going to target is that high glute space. So think about where those hamstrings come up and attach into the pelvis, right? So we're going to put that ball in the space and then kind of just shift over so that our weight is on there, okay? And you should pretty easily be able to find a spot that feels a little tight, right? So then I'm just going to kind of shimmy in my weight, right? And I have this other leg bent, so I don't have all my weight on this space. I'm just going to shimmy that around, and then I'm going to move the ball just a little bit to the outside, and I'm going to shimmy there too, right? Again, I'm working on that high hamstring, right? Where that hamstring comes in and inserts into that pelvis space, right? And remember our vastus lateralis on top of the IT. I'm going to target, if you think find your IT again, I'm going to target on the side behind it, and we're going to kind of rock onto that space as well, right? So think of your ball and socket joint just below that, and big inhales and exhales. Again, if you're having trouble getting into this position or it's just not working for you, go back to the wall, roll your calves, whatever you need to. We're just going to be here for about 2 more minutes. All right, and just alternate sides here, all right? So again, we're targeting that high hamstring space. Okay, way up high. And I am doing the outside, right? You can take that ball a little bit to the inside and turn your foot in and target that inside space. Wherever you feel like you need to spend a little time, right? And I've got my hips just lifted up. You can use your hands here. And I'm just kind of lifting my hips just a touch. I'm using this foot. It allows me to just kind of move over the ball a little bit. And I find a tight spot. I'm going to press down and hold. Breathe and imagine that tightness. I have a muscle right now, and woof, it just released. And what happened? When it released, the muscle just kind of decided to give up and wrap around the ball. And it's exactly what I want to happen. Good. Just about 40 more seconds here. And then we're going to spend the remaining 10 minutes just on stretching the hips and hamstrings, and we'll do a little breath work as well. Okay, so coming up, we're going to use that towel or yoga strap, whatever you have. We're going to use that. All right. So have your tally over strap nearby. We're not going to use it just yet. We're going to start out targeting the glute max first. So a pillow, if you have it, is there for you put on your knees or your head, wherever you need it. We're going to start in that all fours position. You're going to extend one leg out, and then that leg is going to track all the way across. So notice that foot is outside my opposite hip. And then I'm going to press back hip to heel. Okay? So the foot or the side that's getting stretched is the side of the foot that's kind of tucked up underneath me. So if you notice that I have my toes tucked here, I'm getting a little kind of a double stretch here because I'm getting the stretch in the bottom of that foot. But if that's uncomfortable, go ahead and untuck your toes, press back a little bit more. Again, we're targeting that big glute max here. Big inhales and exhales here as we hold this. Good. All right, and then come on up. Same thing on the other side. Send the leg straight back. Slide it over. Go hip to heel. With that toe tucked or untucked, whatever works for you. Big inhales and exhales. Good. Now we're going to come up and we're going to target the inside thigh. Right? So we're going to come from all fours. I'll turn this way, give you a little bit better angle. Just send one leg straight out. And if you can see my leg is straight up to the side, you might not be able to see my foot, but my foot is flat with the toes pointed straight ahead. Right? So from my hands in this all fours position, I'm going to bring them forward, taking the weight off of my wrist, tucking my back toe, and now we're going to do those rockers. So I'm going to go hips to heels. And as I rock back, I really want you to tighten that quad on that extended leg. And feel that lengthening through that inner thigh as we rock back and forth. Inhale as you rock forward. Exhale as you rock back. That works great, but if it distracts you, just keep the rock going. Keep breathing. Good, and let's switch. Same thing, other side. Ready? Rock back. Try to tighten that quad. You can even rotate. If you want to, you can rotate that foot up. Allows you to get a little deeper into that stretch. But stay in the space that your body needs. Let's just do a couple more. Good. All right, now we're going to take a seated position with our 90-90 sit. So 90-degree bend in our front knee, 90-degree bend in our back knee, and just coming forward. Here in a modified pigeon. Big inhales and exhales. Take that toes of the front foot and kind of curl them up to your shin to get a deeper stretch there. And come on up. Switch to the other side. We have our 90-90, toes curled up, coming forward. Good. Now we're going to come back to our seated position. Knees bent, and hands are just going to be in front of us. And we're just going to come rolling side to side. So my knee is going to kind of fit in the arch of my foot on one side. Just going to pick up and roll the other side. Right? So notice my upper body not moving so much, right? I'm just rotating through those hips. You don't make it all the way to the floor. Just go to what you can. I'm just doing this little mobility work here through the hips. Right? So rolling side to side. An option is as you come here, you can reach up and over. Now we're getting a little bit of that side body lengthening as well. Reaching up and over. Good, and just do a couple more here, whatever feels good. Good, all right. So we got those hips moving and mobile. Let's target the hamstrings here. And we're gonna get a little bonus of stretching the calves as well. So your yoga strap, your towel, whatever you have, put your foot right in the middle. So put it on the arch of your foot. Take that heel straight up so it's stacked over the hip. The leg that does not have the strap can either be bent or it can be flat and forward. What I really want you to focus on here is heel to the ceiling, hip into the floor. Those are your 2 points that you want to think about going in the opposite direction to allow the lengthening in between. Big inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now I want you to use that band and just pull on it just a little bit. I want you to pull, 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 pull. Still keeping that hip anchored into the mat. Take it to the point where that hamstring starts to shake, shake, shake just a little bit. Big inhales, exhales. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now we're going to combine a hip and hamstring movement in our stirrup stretch. So I'm going to take that foot in, right? And then I'm going to send it out now. Okay, so I'm going to bring it in. This is our outward hip rotation. Extend it out. Extending the hamstring in. Extend it out. In. And extend out. Good. 2 more in. And extend it out. And last one in. And extend it out. Good. Switch sides. Okay, so same thing. Right? Leg that doesn't have a strap, then it can be bent. It can be extended out in front of you. Heel up and hip down, lengthening the space in between. Active here. Okay, now really tug on that band and see if you can bring that leg just a little bit closer to your face. Don't lose the hip. Don't let it lift off the mat here. Get that little shimmy, that little shake, that little tremor going. Good. And now we're going to do that stirrup stretch. So foot to the inside and then extend it out and up. And foot to the inside and extend it out and up. And rotate in. Feel that hip move in the socket. And then move it back up. So you should feel that top of your femur rotating in your hip socket here. And let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. You can take that band off. Bring both legs up. Reach up, grab the feet, and find happy baby. So it can be double happy baby, it can be single happy baby, whatever feels good to you. Add a little rock side to side. Focus on the tailbone pressing down to the floor here. Bottoms of the feet parallel with the ceiling. And bring those knees together. Good. Now we're just going to finish with feet up the wall. So find a comfortable position with your feet on the wall, whether it's knees bent at 90 degrees, right? Feet on the wall, or legs extended out, feet on the wall. Arms out. I encourage you to really open up the arms, whether it's out in a T, maybe overhand or Y, or make that little cactus pose. But I really encourage you to open up the arms, allow those shoulders to roll open, and then focus on the breath. And we're starting with the belly, continuing to inhale through the diaphragm, all the way into the lungs, completely filling the lungs, front to back, side to side. Expanding that rib cage, and then from the ribs, start with that exhale, take it all the way to the belly. Finish with that belly button pulled into the spine, pelvic floor pulled up to your center. Before starting again, big inhale, belly, diaphragm, lungs and ribs, and reverse it back. Right, and continue. All right, I encourage you to continue with that breath for at least 5 or 6 more, just focusing on your body and your breath and how you feel. And just take the time for yourself right now. Enjoy and give yourself a little pat on the back for taking time for yourself today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to shoot me an email anytime. And I'll see you all next week.